David DeGuzman inside the NBC4 Digital Center for the latest edition of the Digital Sports Roundtable. We are counting down to a historic night that will happen this weekend at the Shoe. Ohio State football will be the home for Columbus Blue Jackets and the Detroit Red Wings, the latest Stadium Series game in the NHL. And here to talk about all the excitement that we have, because it's overflowing, guys. It's Whitney Harding and Joe Nugent. Just first things first, just how excited are we for this weekend that's been about a year in the making since they announced it?
Oh gosh, it's been years in the making if you're from here. But yeah, it's been years since they announced it. I mean, I am just so excited that this is finally happening here. It feels overdue.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, all going back to the winterization of the stadium. Unfortunately, that's why it did take so long. But I feel the same way. I am fired up for this. I've been to an outdoor game, and it was one of the best probably the best hockey experience of my life. So, I'm kind of hoping it's going to snow. I know it's probably not going to happen.
I think it'll be cold enough, though.
Yeah, I mean, it snowed at the one I went to. It was perfect, but whatever. I mean, it's still going to be neat because I think the cool thing about it is that everybody there is going to be in a really good mood because it's something different and unique. It's not like you're going to say an Ohio State Penn State football game where it's like, all right, Buckeyes need to win this game, let's go get it. Like it's a different vibe, you know?
But at the same time, at least it is a game that means something. It's not just an exhibition. Both teams need the points. Like they need it. So that's going to be great. I think what I'm most excited for is the amount of people that are going to be there that have never seen a hockey game live before.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a sport on this planet that is more different watching on TV versus watching in person. Just the speed, the size, the agility, everything. When you see it in person, it's just jaw-dropping. And on that kind of stage, in that kind of an atmosphere, it's going to be electric. And I'm just so ecstatic for the people who have never seen a hockey game in person before experiencing it.
I will say the players are very excited. The Blue Jackets some members of the Blue Jackets got to see the ice for the first time. And if you just saw the looks on their faces when they walked in, they're in for a treat on Saturday. Let's hear from Boone Jenner and head coach Dean Evison on just how excited they are about going back to the roots of hockey, playing outdoors.
My last memory for sure of playing outside is, playing with my brothers. We had a rink growing up, and since then I haven't played any hockey outdoors. Kind of brings you back to those memories for sure. And
it is freaking awesome. That's what goes through your mind. It's amazing, and I've been fortunate to be involved in a couple, but to walk into this stadium, and it's just such an incredible stadium. But now to see a hockey rink sitting in the middle of it, it's really exciting.
Dean Evison saying it's freaking awesome. Just the honesty he had. I think at one point or another, everyone that's played hockey, they've played some form outside. I know a lot of people who really grew up playing hockey ended up becoming college and professional hockey players. They probably found some sort of pond somewhere. Although I will say with the younger players, it's starting to get less and less. I don't know, global warming or something. But there's something about playing outdoors, and it's going to be different for both of these teams. How do you think the Blue Jackets are going to be approaching this game, knowing that there's, it's going to be so much pomp and circumstance, but also there's 2 points on the line here, guys?
I want to talk about playing outside first.
Yeah, do it.
As somebody who played pond hockey growing up, and I lived in a place where sometimes we would get freezing rain, and it would be enough of it to literally skate down your driveway and down your street and all that stuff. You could go out and play hockey all day. That was the great thing about it, because nowadays, if you're going to go up to the ice house or Chiller North, you reserve an hour of time, right, and that's it, to practice or play. But that's one of the beauties of growing up, in a place maybe like Minnesota or somewhere north Wisconsin, where you can just go out and play all day, and it's that fun freedom feel that I think so many of the guys really enjoy. They kind of miss because it's a business, and yes, the Jackets need to win this game because they're fighting with Detroit to get one of those last wild card spots. So yeah, I mean, this whole final 2-month stretch of the season is going to be great. Every single one of these games are huge.
Yeah, every single one of these games are huge, and that's something that Don Waddell said last week. He said that the playoffs themselves, they hope to make, would be a good experience for this young team. But honestly, these are playoff games, and these games are big for this young team to learn and for the coaches to learn, okay, how is this guy going to react in this situation? How is this line going to work in this situation? So they are already presenting these games as playoff games. And I didn't grow up anywhere where there was pond hockey. We were swimming in this time of year. But this is a fun story. One of my former gymnastics teammates married somebody from Wisconsin. And a few years ago when Texas had those horrible the horrible freeze, he went out in their backyard and he made a pond. And he made him this ice rink because their son plays hockey. And seeing the videos and seeing the joy of like the neighbor kids, all of these kids who had never gotten to experience playing it outside, that is what this is. It takes you back. It's nostalgic and it's fun. And there's something about the air when you breathe it outside. I mean, it's amazing. And yeah, I hope that it gets them fired up to win, but also they can temper some of that emotion and play really well.
And Dean Evison said, you know, talking about approaching the game, just take it all in. There's going to be a lot of time to take it all in, considering the intermissions are longer, that walk from the Ohio State football locker room where CBJ will be in and going all the way to the rink, that's going to be a long walk. Take it all in. Those timeouts are going to be also longer as well. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity, but once the puck drops, it's time to focus on the game. We're going to talk about kind of the bigger picture about Columbus sports and how big this event is, but focusing on the hockey and the Blue Jackets, I can't help but think, for me, two big storylines that are converging here. One is, you know, hockey is coming off of that huge Four Nations victory, Four Nations tournament. Yeah. Canadians won, by the way.
Somebody had to.
Someone had to. And that momentum for the sport and for the NHL coming off of that, this is going to be huge. And then the other thing I can't help but think of is that an entire country, the entire continent who's watching this game, they're going to learn the story of Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. And I can't help but think of how many more people are going to know what those two were like. How big is this moment for the franchise and really for hockey, especially considering we're 1 year away from a Winter Olympics with hockey, NHL hockey players again?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the last time that the franchise was on a stage like this was when it played Tampa.
The
playoffs.
Tampa sweep, yeah.
Yep. And it was a big thing, but this will be
quickly.
It's true, because you go on to the next week.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
The buzzsaw.
Yeah. But in terms of a marquee event, I mean, this is, you know, by far certainly the biggest home game that the Jackets have ever played. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of a peak in a way for the franchise for now. I mean, hopefully with Dean and the crew, maybe this is another peak coming soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's by far the most special day and the most special home game. And, you know, in terms of relevancy in the hockey world, you know, certainly the most relevant since that sweep of Tampa.
Yeah, and I think that it's even bigger because of what Four Nations did. Yeah. Four Nations, remember, that was supposed to be like an all-star event. And it morphed into this incredible, like, pre-Olympics exhibition for hockey. I mean, the numbers, the viewing numbers just in the United States, over 9 million people. Factor in how many people in Canada were watching that game. I mean, crazy numbers. And it were games when it comes down to it, didn't really matter or mean anything. I mean, it ended up meaning a lot, but you know what I mean? As far as like, you know, medals, trophies, whatever, like it's not the Olympics. So right now, hockey is on such a high. The NHL, I think, is coming off of this massive, massive event, and the Blue Jackets are the next massive event. I mean, it's so exciting. It's so much fun, and it's a huge hockey week here in Columbus. I mean, this, of course, is the marquee game, but you got Ohio State, Michigan. The women are opening up postseason play.
They're playing Saturday.
Yeah.
Doubleheader.
Hockey this weekend, or really this week, starting on Thursday, this whole city is going to be hockey, which is awesome.
It's going to be amazing. Over 90,000 fans expected to be at the shoe for this. It really feels like a once-in-a-lifetime event, because even if they come back in a couple of years to Columbus, it's just not going to be the same, because you always remember your first one. And apparently a lot of people are going to be coming for Boone Jenner, because he has a lot of people who are visiting. Let's hear from him about just exactly how many friends and family he has coming over.
Yeah, quite a big crew coming from Dorchester, and you know, all my family, brothers, cousins, and then a lot of friends from back home too. So a lot of people making the trek down, so that means a lot, and they want to experience this as well. And know how exciting it is for us. You know, Columbus's first outdoor game, and for our fans and the city here, it's going to be a special moment here.
I think he said 30 to 40. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. And I hope they're not all staying at Boone Jenner's house, because I don't care how big of a house you have, man. That's a lot of people in one place. So hopefully the hotels are an option for them. Wrapping up our conversation here, the excitement for not just the game itself, but obviously this is just huge for this sports crazy town. I mean, the fact that you are marrying this pro sports team with one of the biggest brands in national sports, Ohio State, and we saw the rendering this morning, the fact that they're going to incorporate, you know, the band and the Buckeye stickers. How does an event like this put Columbus on the map even more? I mean, I can only imagine 5-10 years down the road, we're going to be looking back at this event and with a smile with how well the event is, because judging from how the NHL's been doing so far, this is going to be pretty successful on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a marquee event, you know, for the city and for people who watch hockey. You know, they're going to, you know, we've sort of seen a few Winter Classic games at Wrigley Field, right, through the decades, and there hasn't been something new in a long time. So this is going to be new for hockey, and I think that, you know, what's going to be different, speaking of the rendering, is all the blue inside the stadium.
Yeah.
That's going to be different.
That's going to be different. Well, it's going to be opposite, because then here comes
the
Michigan team in all red.
I know.
So that is kind of a try. I hadn't thought of that.
It was the same thing when they so of course in Ann Arbor they hosted it. And it was the same thing where the Red Wings fans were wearing red at the Big House, playing Toronto, who was in blue. Yeah.
That's funny.
It was funny.
That is funny. I mean, I think it's going to be amazing for the city in general, just because it's marrying so many, like David mentioned, so many different things. And then you got the Blue Jackets and Ohio State, but then they're bringing in all of these other aspects around it as well. The music, Columbus artists playing at it, all these different elements. It's been so neat to hear from the NHL about all these nuggets that they're doing. I can't wait to see it all play out. Because there are so many. I mean, it's an onion, man. There's all these layers coming out of this, and it's going to be so great.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a blast, just to kind of see how they incorporate all these cool school traditions and to make it feel like it's a big party for Columbus, and I'm really excited to see it. So we're going to have all the coverage that you could ever want and ask for on NBC4 on the lead up to the game. And, of course, here on NBC4i.com. For Whitney Harding and Joe Nugent, I'm David DeGuzman. We'll see you next time on the NBC4 Sports Digital Roundtable.